For reaction, let's go to House Judiciary Ranking Member. He's Jim Jordan of Ohio, back with us. Great to have you back on, Congressman. Your reaction to all of that?
No, this is the day that it happened. Remember, you said it best. Well, you said it best, Liz. This was the day, January 4th, 2017, when the agents doing the case on Michael Flynn wanted to drop it because there was nothing there. This is the date they decide, no, we're going to go after him. Now, remember what we've learned about him here in the last few weeks. We learned a few weeks ago, Joe Biden was one of the 38 people in the final months of the Obama administration who unmasked Michael Flynn's name. And today we learned Joe Biden is the one who suggested this crazy idea of using the Logan Act to pursue Michael Flynn the day they decide that they're going to continue their effort to get Michael Flynn. Joe Biden, even though he told us just a few months ago he knew nothing about this case, was involved in unmasking Flynn's name, involved in suggesting they use the Logan Act on the very day that they decide not to drop charges but to go after Flynn, even though the agents investigating Flynn wanted to let this case go because there was nothing there. That's how serious this is, and it's a great win. As Michael Flynn said, Liz, this is a big win for them. It's a big win for Michael Flynn, his family, what they've been through. But it's a bigger win for the American people because now this is about getting back to the rule of law and equal treatment under the law.
Yeah. But it also appears that Barack Obama and Joe Biden are personally directing a criminal probe into Michael Flynn when the FBI didn't have the goods on Flynn and they didn't have the goods on the Trump-Russia collusion theory. So now they're still going to go after Michael Flynn. Why? Because they didn't like him? Why?
Well, this is all part of the insurance, and I think to cover up what they did before. I think the insurance policy initially was to stop President Trump from winning. Once he won, then the insurance policy becomes, we can't let the American people find out what we actually tried to do. So when President Obama says put the right people on this case, that's scary because what did we learn from Rick Grinnell just a few weeks back as well? We learned that Clapper, we learned that Brennan, we learned that Rice, we learned that Yates. None of them none of them saw any evidence of any type of conspiracy or collusion coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia. And yet, they continue the investigation. They got the FISA warrant to spy on Carter Page. They continue to do the investigation they did. They continue to go after Michael Flynn. So that's the scary part, and that is why. We say this all the time, Liz. It's why what Bill Barr is doing is so darn important, and the work that he has tasked John Durham to do in going back and figuring out how all this crazy ordeal, this hoax, how it all started.
Yeah. Let's stay on this because Michael Flynn was the incoming national security advisor. It's within his purview to get on the phone with a foreign ambassador. That's what he did with the Russian ambassador. So that's what he's supposed to do. So then the FBI wiretaps his phone call because they feel that their case against him is falling apart, and they get the transcript of the phone call. They see that he may have been talking about sanctions involving Russia. So then Comey turns around and the Obama White House gets on the stick. They get involved. What are we going to do with this? Because they clearly know the whole thing is falling apart. So they still get the right people to get, Obama says, quote, get the right people.
Right.
Mr. Jordan, is that Peter Strzok who was then designed a perjury trap to get Flynn to lie to the FBI so they could prosecute him? That's according to notes from Bill Priestap. And no Miranda warning, no lawyer for Flynn present. Is that what happened?
Right. So they have this meeting on the 4th. What happens in the next few days? 2 days later, January 6th, Comey goes up to Trump Tower along with Brennan and Clapper. But Comey stays back after the meeting. The main meeting ends, and he tells President-elect Trump at the time, about the dossier so that they could go leak the information about the dossier and get the news story about it. And then just 20 days later, on January 24th, we know Jim Comey didn't follow the process, didn't follow the rules, snuck two guys into the White House to do what you just described, to set up Michael Flynn and get him, as Bill Priestap, Peter Strzok's boss, as Bill Priestap said, is our goal to get him to lie so we can get him fired or get him removed. That's what they focused on doing, and they did just that. And it looks like now, based on what we got today, that meeting on January 4th was all part of this plan to continue to go after Michael Flynn, even though, as Comey said, there was nothing wrong with his conversations with Mr. Kislyak, and there was no predicate for starting this investigation in the first place. It's really sad.
Does this spell trouble for Obama? Yeah, does this spell trouble for Obama, Biden, Comey, Strzok, and his FBI officials? Because, again, they were dusting off nothing that had to do with Trump-Russia conspiracy, espionage violations, nothing, no laws cited there. They were dusting off these old statutory relics, process crimes like Logan Act that hardly anybody has been charged with, and FARA crimes. That's foreign, not registering with the federal government as you're lobbying for a foreign government. So, these are sneaky regulatory violations. Is that enough to get a FISA warrant to dig into people's, get wiretaps to wiretap their phones, look through their garbage, stake them out at their houses? I mean, those are regulatory crimes, FARA and Logan. The FARA crimes are.
Yeah.
It's not a crime. It's a regulatory violation. Go ahead.
Remember what the Attorney General said in an interview just a couple of weeks ago. He said that John Durham is looking at all this, and he was asked about who, and he said there are names that he's looking at that you would all recognize. So let's hope they're looking at Jim Comey again. Let's hope they're looking at the people involved in this, Peter Strzok, Andy McCabe. Let's hope that all happens, because, again, what they did is so fundamentally wrong. I love what Emmett Flood wrote a year ago when the Mueller report came out. Emmett Flood talked about, he said, we would all do well to remember, if they can do this to a president of the United States, and I would add, if they can do this to a three-star general like General Flynn, imagine what they can do to you and I. Or more importantly, imagine what they can do to the 750,000 people I get the privilege of representing in the 4th District of Ohio. That's why what General Flynn said today on Rush Limbaugh's show is so important. He said, this is a win for the country. This is a win for getting back to the rule of law. This is a win for holding people in high positions like Jim Comey, Andy McCabe, the top people in our intelligence community, the top people in the FBI. This is a win for holding them accountable and having them follow the rules, which Comey didn't, and to follow the law.
Yeah, Congressman, at the evening edit, we've been reporting on abuses of power in the Flynn case and the Trump-Russia probe for 3.5 years. We started this in January 2017. I want to ask you this. How does this fit in the context of other abuses of power under the Obama administration, going after conservative nonprofits to suppress their voice during the election by using the IRS to go after them, wiretapping journalists' phone calls and going after subpoenaing the phone records of Associated Press reporters, Fox News reporter James Rosen, New York Times reporter James Risen? Talk to us about how this fits in the context of the Obama administration abuses of power.
The Obama-Biden administration, remember, Eric Holder said he was Obama's wingman. And as you said, they went after investigative journalists, James Risen at the New York Times, James Rosen with Fox News, Fast and Furious, the IRS targeting scandal where they went after conservative groups who were out there simply saying, quit spending so much money and stop this Obamacare. I mean, and then, of course, we have what they did with the mid-year exam, how they treated Hillary Clinton, and how different that was with the way they treated the Trump campaign, with President-elect Trump, and with General Flynn. And that's what drives Americans crazy. And that's why, again, what John Durham is doing under the leadership of our Attorney General, who's doing a good job, what they are doing is so darn important.
Congressman, great to have you on. Come back soon.
You bet. Thank you, Liz.